one of the stocks that somewhat outperformed the PSEI is Maharlika's first investment, and that is the Synergy Grid and Development Philippines. Let's take a look at that stock here. I wanted to show you the spike there in SGP stock price, as you can see right here, right when it was announced that Maharlika Investment Corporation will acquire a 20% stake in the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. If you just pedal back here to 2022, you can just see how SGP stock price has seen a bit of a decline right here, well into the middle of 2023. And then the stock price has since risen steadily until after following that deal. When you saw that spike there, the stock price has since fallen right over here. It's fallen back and then recovered. So SGP shares still among the highest in nearly 2 years, or since March 2023, somewhat outperforming the weak market. Well, with us now for his views, let's check in with Mike Ricafort. He's the Chief Economist of Rizal Commercial and Banking Corporation. Good to see you, Mike. Thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kathy. Congratulations and more power to your new show.
Thank you so much. You know, pretty interesting there, the chart that you just shared just a couple of hours ago. I mean, was that expected? Did you expect that spike right there and then a bit of a loss and a recovery?
Well, yeah, it's an outperformance. It somewhat, despite the declining market, it's a sign of resilience. And if you look at the industries per se, those who are doing well, related to power, because even the AI team, they would require a lot of power and maybe other utilities to power things up for AI. And, it's a global thing. That's why.
And pretty interesting for our specific geography. We need transmission. I mean, we have a lot of power assets, but the transmission grid is so important to the equation, and that's why SGP counts a lot.
Yeah, definitely, because they have no competitors. And, that's why that's very strategic as well. And, of course, we have to look at valuations and, looking at the transactions, the big transactions recently, that's a consideration. If the transacting parties, especially on those on the sell side, would be happy on what they got because of the nature. And of course, it's mission critical as well for the country. And being an archipelago, of course, we see a lot. Well, the biggest investments into the country are renewable power, and the country needs that a lot. And especially offshore wind, solar, and given the geography of the country, those are needed most. And considering for many years and decades, the Philippine cost of power has been one of the highest after Japan and Singapore. So there's a need to really increase the supply of power to bring down power costs, and that's one consideration also for foreign investments.
I like that you mentioned mission critical, because Joel described the MIC as the collaborative vehicle of the government that would chase foreign direct investments. So that's exactly what they're doing now. I mean, with the latest transaction with CP Group from Thailand, that really brings it right into another industry that is mission critical, if you will, agriculture.
Well, definitely, Kathy. Especially, it's a risk-reward for everybody. And at the same time, it's coupled with national interests the contribution to society, to the Philippine economy per se. Considering that our population is the 12th largest in the world, more than 113 million Filipinos, and that would require, that highlights the importance of food security. And, the biggest equalizer right now is technology. Technology meaning to say, enabled to boost productivity, boost output and production at reduced costs. It's really technology. The best practices being applied right now by the likes of Israel, Taiwan, and Japan and other countries. That would really expedite everything, and that would be facilitated by the companies that are known to have used those best technologies and bring those investments into the country, and that's tangible. The technology transfer is tangible. On top of creating more jobs, it's something structural. And to think that, especially agriculture, it employs more than 20% of all workers in the country. And, the impact, the incremental impact and benefit would drive most.
Brings us to the next statement that he made, because pretty interesting, you made a mention of what's structural, and he's made a mention of a third investment coming soon, and that's 3 investments in as many months, really. When you take a look at his statement here, he made a mention of it being a foreign-listed firm and an infrastructure play. What do you make of this?
Well, yeah, that's another thing. Because we have relatively less investments, both local and foreign, especially the biggest companies and conglomerates globally. Especially in agriculture. So this is a good first step. And same goes for infrastructure. Those are mission critical for the country. It's an investment approach. The incremental benefits are, if you look at it, given the scarce resources, faced by the government as well as by the private sector, both local and foreign investors. So what would really create the biggest benefit and return over the long term and for the coming generation? It's really those investments. Well, if you look at the national budget, it's education. Then secondly, there's infrastructure. And infrastructure is needed to ensure long-term productivity of the economy, the requirements of a fast-growing economy. Philippines among the fastest-growing economies. We have bottlenecks, you have traffic congestion, and we have yet to catch up with our neighboring countries.
We've got about 30 seconds to go. So just going back to the twin mandates of MIC, do you think they're about achieving it? Because the first is social impact, as Joel said, and the second is profit.
Yeah, definitely. Combination of both, because hurdle rate, the return should be higher than government securities. It should be higher than dividend yields in the equities market. Meaning to say, of course, it should be higher than that monetary-wise, and of course, on a social function, looking at the whole country, the return over the long term, uplifting more people out of poverty, attracting more foreign investments into the country, and also attracting more tourists. So that would really, the social function, on top of the actual returns, it's the mission critical ones. That's not, of course, that's needed most by the country. Well, those would be the key guidelines eventually.
Well, appreciate all the making sense of it all and bringing it right down to the investor and the consumer. Thank you so much, Mike Ricafort of RCBC.